Good morning, everyone. We're just going to give one more minute for everyone to jump on the call. Okay, it is now 10 o'clock. We can go ahead and get started now. Do you want to present the slide, Patrick? Okay. All right. Okay, thank you, Patrick. We'll go ahead and get started. Well, good morning, and just wanted to welcome and thank you guys for coming this morning and joining us for the Medicaid statewide provider training. We'll be going over the PRISM overview and provider directory for this session today. My name is Amanda Yoshida. I am the organizational change manager for PRISM, and I also have with the Patrick Gill, who is the PRISM training manager as well, to help present this training. Before we get started, I just want to go over some housekeeping items. If you do have any questions, please feel free to ask those questions as we go through each slide. You don't need to hold those questions until the very end. If there are any questions that we can't answer in the session, we will make sure to answer them after our training and get back to you as soon as we can on those, just to make sure you guys know on that. And then if you can, please use the raise hand function in the Google Meet. That would help us to prioritize and organize the answering of questions. Any questions on this so far? All right, okay, thank you. So for the agenda today, just wanted to go over the PRISM project background. So we'll start with PRISM first. We'll go over the background, the timeline, and we'll also go over the upcoming changes that providers will see and why it's important to providers, and what do you need to do as providers. And we'll also be going over the training and resources, as well as the testing. And then towards the end, we'll be talking a little bit about the provider directory as well. Go to the next slide, Patrick. And then for the state agency consolidation, as you guys may have known, the Department of Health and also the Department of Health Services, the Department of Health and the Department of Human Services have merged and consolidated into the Department of Health and Human Services effective July 1st of this year. Next slide, please. And our division, the Medicaid division, will be called the Division of Integrated Healthcare starting July 1st, and we'll still be implementing, organizing, and maintaining the Medicaid and CHIP program in this division. Okay, so we'll jump right into the PRISM project overview. Okay, thank you. The PRISM project overview, the Utah Medicaid is replacing the Utah Medicaid Management Information System, as you guys probably know better, more known as MMIS. The new system is called PRISM, which is the Provider Reimbursement Information System for Medicaid. It is a multi-year project. I think it started around even around 2012, and it's continuing through January of 2023. We have implemented the provider enrollment component of the system, and we've since updated that component back in June of 2020. And starting January, you can go to the next slide, of January of 2023, we'll be implementing the remaining components of PRISM, which includes the managed care processes, prior authorizations. There's member eligibility, claims adjudications and payments. And then you'll also see the member web portal and audit studio, which basically is the fraud and abuse system. Upcoming changes that providers will see. So here are some examples that you'll see of the changes and functionalities in January. For claims, providers will no longer be able to submit paper claims. Providers will be doing what we call the direct data entry of claims online and performing the claim adjustment online as well. And you'll see immediate results on those adjustments. And you'll be able to check the claim status online as well. For prior authorizations, those will be submitted electronically. You'll be able to enter the PA requests through a provider portal. And for waivers and care plans, they'll be electronic as well. The service authorizations will be automatically generated by the care plans approvals. And then you'll see that freedom of choice provider forms will be automatically updated once a provider is approved for these waiver services. So these are just examples. As you can see, it's not comprehensive. There's going to be a lot more information and additional training for providers that will be coming up this year. Just wanted for you guys to keep an eye on that. Awesome, Andrew. Yes, it's going to be pretty exciting because, as you can see in this next slide here, I mean, it's going to be very beneficial to providers. You'll see what we call a web-based system that will be supporting basically online real-time query adjustment of the claims and authorizations, as we've outlined earlier. The interface is is really user-friendly. There's going to be help text from one screen to the next. It is a consolidated system, and you'll see a lot of new automations of processes, and which creates a lot of efficiencies. And then, of course, being able to enter those claims and everything online just provides you more options and submitting those claims to Medicaid. Okay, I'm gonna look at some of the questions on here so far. So how can we get more training on that? So we will go over the training, Andrew, in the next few slides. So that will give us more information. We'll come back to in case that there's additional questions on how to access those trainings. And then as well, Angela, you have questions on the TAM Dental and end dates online. That part I don't have the answers to, but we'll be happy to answer. I'll find out and be happy to answer that for you. Will claims have to be submitted through PRISM, or can we continue to submit through our clearinghouses? I think you should be able to submit it through the clearinghouses as well. Is there anyone from MedOps that can help to confirm that answer?
Yes. Sorry, Amanda. Hi, I'm Tiffany. I'm over here on the PRISM Testing team. Yes, you can still use your clearinghouse. You will be able to still use your clearinghouse once PRISM goes live.
Perfect. Thanks, Tiffany.
Yeah.
And let's see. Do we have an idea of when the claims authorization real-time query model will be available? That will be January 2023. That functionality won't be coming out until go live at that time. And then we hope clearinghouse, okay, and we've answered that part, right? So great. Let's go on to the next slide. What do I need to do as a provider? Just to keep yourself up to date on information, read the Medicaid Information Bulletin articles. We will be coming out with additional articles in the next few months or so that has more information on the PRISM. And there's the article web addresses there that you can access. We will also have frequently asked questions that's going to be posted to the Medicaid website, so keep an eye on that. And then if you register for the Medicaid listservs at that medicaid.utah.gov/Medicaid Information Bulletins, that will help to know whenever that MIB article come out, so that you can take a look at if there's any PRISM information. But yeah, keep an eye on that on the webpage and everything. That we'll be coming out with so much more information in the next coming months or so. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and hand over the training to Patrick Gill.
Thank you, Amanda, and thank you everybody for being here this morning. We appreciate the opportunity to kind of give you some information about PRISM coming out, and my part of this is to talk about the training that's going to be available. So first off, there are some new PRISM training and resources that will be available to you. That's on top of some of the training that's already been there on the Medicaid website for provider enrollment and those type of things. But the first thing that I want to show you is kind of the new PRISM overview page and then how to get to provider training. So I'll switch my display really quick. Just give me 1 second. Hopefully everybody can see that okay. So basically what this is just medicaid.utah.gov. So if you go to the Medicaid homepage, you can see here one of the banners that kind of cycles through is what's coming to PRISM. And there's a link here to get the latest updates. That is one way you can get to the kind of PRISM homepage. But you can also go down here where it says PRISM and helpful PRISM resources. Either one of those will take you to the same page. And when we click that, as you can see, we get to the PRISM project kind of home page, and it starts with an overview. There's a lot of information here. We're giving you just the basic, the smallest little bits of that information in this training right now. But for more details, this is where you would come to kind of see what's going on with PRISM. We have, like I said, the overview, the updates on system features and components, the important dates and timelines, information on Medicaid system freeze, testing, and the MIB, the Medicaid Information Bulletin. Please post the links on the messages. No option to copy and paste from the screen. So which links would you like? I mean, we can go back to just the Medicaid homepage, which is medicaid.utah.gov. I'll post that or copy and paste it in the chat. Then, like I said, once you get here, you can go down to the PRISM button and link that. That takes you to medicaid.utah.gov/PRISM, which I will paste that as well. Yes, you will have access to these slides. We'll also have a recording of this available as well, right, Amanda? That people will be able to access if they want to go back and listen Andrew, to answer your question, I'm not sure. Will we be able to submit 837 files and receive 835 files back? To me, it sounds like we're kind of getting into the technical aspects of PRISM, which I'm not particularly the subject matter expert on, but is there anybody on that can answer that question of whether or not they'll be able to submit 837 files and receive the 835 files back?
I am actually reaching out to Diana. I believe that is going to be a possibility, but I'd like to confirm that for you.
Great. Thank you, Tiffany. And here is the link to the PRISM homepage. And like I said, we have all those different bits of information, but the part that I'm focusing on at the moment is provider training. So this button here that says provider training, learn more, when you click that, takes you to medicaid.utah.gov/prism-provider-training. I'll go ahead and copy and paste that in the chat as well. And so as you can see here, there are some quick links. This can take you back to the PRISM homepage. This link here will just basically take you to the same page we're on currently. Then we have a link to the PRISM FAQs, and then a way to contact PRISM if you have any questions or issues. But on this page, you'll see that right now we have some training that is available for you currently, and that's been out for a while, particularly around provider enrollment and that kind of thing. And if you open these up, you can see, introduction and overviews to PRISM for providers. You'd click on each of these, depending on what topic that you'd like to learn more about. You can close that down, open the other ones, enrolling as a new provider. As you can see, we have a lot of different e-learning modules for people to use, all about provider enrollment. So we encourage you to go through some of these modules as you'd like. And then we have...
I want to point out too, Patrick, that each of those modules, when you pull down, it has the minutes on there. So you can kind of see, how many minutes that you'll have to dedicate if you wanted to open those different modules up, and kind of time yourself. If you just have 10 or 15 minutes that day to look at a training, I think that's helpful.
And as you can see, it's kind of, they're basically organized in courses. So this course here, enrolling as an individual sole proprietor provider, includes all of these other modules, and together the whole course would take you about 1 hour and 36 minutes to go through. And like Amanda said, each of those sub modules underneath have the minutes kind of broken out for you there. And then we have managing the information of a provider. Again, a lot of courses, a lot of modules to go through that are available for you. And then we have the eligibility lookup tool and Medicaid member card training. So that is what's currently on the website now. Let me go back to the other presentation. So like we said, those are the e-learning, that's the e-learning that's currently there now, but there are e-learning modules on upcoming PRISM functionality that will be available later this year. And you will get to that new training the same way I just showed you how to get to the existing training. Let's go over here. Okay, there we go. So On top of the e-learning trainings that we'll have available to you later this year on the Medicaid website, we're also going to be providing other training sessions and demonstrations that'll kind of be put on by the different, offices within Medicaid. And they will be reaching out to providers and scheduling time to train providers on things that are a little bit more granular, a little bit more detailed than some of the e-learning topics. And so, you might be contacted by Medicaid staff, like it says here, regarding the training specific to your areas of service. And then, of course, we encourage you to come back to that PRISM homepage frequently to check on new things that are available, new timelines, anything that's been updated you can find on that PRISM homepage. And we've already talked about the provider enrollment e-learning. I showed you how to get to that. And again, the links are in the chat as well. And as far as testing goes, we are continuing testing the PRISM system. As you may know, we're scheduled to go live January 3rd, I believe is the date. Is that correct, Amanda?
Mm-hmm.
And so running up into that time is when you'll start to see the new e-learnings, that you'll start to be contacted about, the other demonstrations and that kind of training on PRISM. But you'll also, we'll be having providers doing some of the training on PRISM. And I know some people will, some people have already been contacted, other people will be contacted. But if you are just interested in volunteering to help test the system, then you can definitely contact us at prism@utah.gov, and we would be more than happy to try to get people in and testing the system. I see that we've got a couple other questions that I may have missed. Does everyone have to enroll, or is this only for new providers to Medicaid? And as Emily stated, this is for new providers. Carla said, can you please clarify, if we are already enrolled provider, do we need to re-enroll through PRISM? Same answer, I believe, there from Emily. Will the payer ID change for electronic claim submissions?
I am trying to confirm that right now. So I'll let you know I'm trying to get with our EDI department.
Great, thank you. And then, is there a browser that works best with PRISM? I have a hard time not getting errors when I try logging in, even after cleaning cookies and the cache. Every time I've used it, I've used Chrome, but I haven't heard that one is any better than the other. And then, let's see. Nancy, how do I find out if I'm the listed contact person for my sites? Trying to understand that the question, being the contact person for your sites. I'll have to get back to you on that, Nancy. And Nicole asked, during Medicaid system freeze, will we not have access to the Medicaid patient eligibility lookup tool? We use this daily. Does anybody have an answer for Nicole?
So for that question, FAQ will be coming out soon on the freeze that will help to answer those questions. So we'll have more information for sure on all the information on what's functioning and what's not functioning during the freeze. We'll have that all outlined out. We're still working on that, and we'll get that out to providers real soon.
And then let's see. That was from, the next one's from Nancy. I've just taken over the billing and want to make sure I'm the contact person for someone to contact me, right? And Tiffany, that's what you're looking up, right?
Yeah, Nancy, you can actually see that in the PRISM system, the provider PRISM system. You can go in and see who your administrator is and your contact.
Let's see, what dates are the Medicaid freeze again? And Amanda answered December 13th to January 2nd. Thank you, Amanda, for that. Do we have any other questions while we're here and trying to answer them as best we can? I know, again, we're not kind of the technical system, more of just kind of a, hey, this is what's coming and more information will be coming. We do appreciate the questions and we'll try to get them answered for you. Does anybody have any other questions?
These are all really good questions, everyone.
Can an SUD agency get access to ELT without accepting Medicaid due to being donation-only site? Anybody have any input on that question? Some of these questions, if we're not able to answer them right away, we can definitely do some research and then get back to you. I'm just trying to think, just using the name that's in the chat might not be the most detailed contact information. So if you wanted to go to the prism@utah.gov, you could also always send your questions there and we can do some research on them and get back to you as soon as possible. Candace says, we're new here. What do we need to do if we have providers to credential during the Medicaid freeze? Again, a lot more of that Medicaid freeze information will be coming out with the FAQ. Not everything is completely worked out, but as it gets put together, we will put those frequently asked questions up on the website, the PRISM homepage, and that should answer a lot of the Medicaid freeze questions. Tamara, will each of the trainings in this series be recorded and available to providers? If so, where do we access the recordings? That's a great question, Tamara, and we didn't address that, but there will be the demos that happen and the walkthroughs and that kind of thing. They're all planned to be recorded, and we plan to put anything kind of PRISM training related on that, well, provider training related on that webpage that I showed you, the medicaid.utah.gov/prism/provider-training. Yeah, that's up in the chat somewhere too. I just want to make sure I'm giving you anything right. So Medicaid.
And then Patrick, sorry, yeah. Maybe also, because I think she was saying the training in this series, are you referring to like the statewide provider training? If it's a statewide provider training, I think there's a location for that as well. Do you by chance have the links to that, Sharon, perhaps, on where these trainings will be uploaded to?
So for the recordings for the statewide provider training, it will be available at this site in September, and that is in the chat. The training right now, Sharon, is that going to be going in that same place that you linked, or will we be putting it?
Sorry, yes, that is correct. So this recording today will be posted at that site. It's the provider training site on our Medicaid website, as well as all of the trainings that we are offering in the next couple of days and weeks. So they will all be posted sometime mid-September on our website. And I put the link in the chat. Thank you.
Thank you, Sharon. Appreciate that. Just seeing if I missed any. I've been working in the PRISM system since 2019. How will this change the system I'm currently working in? Well, what I would suggest, Melody, and it looks like Emily's asking kind of the same thing, but are you talking about provider enrollment part of PRISM, that will not be changing. But if you're doing anything else that has functionality that PRISM will be providing, you can go to that page once all of the new provider e-learnings get there later in the year, and you can browse through the different topics and see which ones apply to you. Plus, you will be likely to be contacted by Medicaid staff to go over more detail the trainings that are, like I said, more granular and more catered to specific providers' needs and what they do on a day-to-day basis. All right, any other questions? Okay, well then I'll turn the time back over to Amanda. I'll go to the next slide if you'd like me to continue presenting.
Yes, let's go ahead to the next slide. So we'll go ahead and go over the provider directory. Go to the next one. Okay. So it's already out there as far as the new fields. Just wanted to remind you guys that there are new fields, one for the public phone number and also for the public email address. Basically, they're intended, again, for the preferred phone number and email address that you'd like the public to use to contact you. The public phone number is a required field, and so we're asking providers to update this information as soon as you can. As far as the email address itself, that email address is actually optional, but if you would like people to contact you by email, then we do ask for you to update that information as soon as possible as well. You can go to the next slide. Another field that we have is the accepting new clients field. So this field is already there for the individual sole proprietor applicant types. And it's also available for the additional enrollment types of the group practice, facility agency organizations. There's the atypical agency and also atypical individual. So we're asking for you to update this information or this new field. If you don't have anything in there, either a yes or no by providers, it'll be left blank. So make sure to go in there and add a yes or no in the accepting new clients field if you haven't already done so. And this page just shows if you want to make any changes to the account for provider directory or to verify any of the information that you have already out there. The website address is prism.health.utah.gov. And so you'll be able to make the changes there. And again, to note, don't forget to update each location, not just one, just each location that you have, make sure you update the information accordingly. Any questions on the provider directory? All right, you guys. Thank you guys for joining our training session today. If there's any other questions, you can contact me or Patrick. Here's our contact information. And then for the questions that we have that we were not able to answer, Sharon, do we have email addresses for each of those individual person here? Okay.
I do, except for Lori Whittington. I did put that in the chat. She had a question about payer IDs. So yes, I have captured all of the questions that we are still waiting answers for, and we will email you once we receive those answers. But Lori, if you're still on, if you could provide me with your email address, that way we can get that question to you.
Okay, perfect. Thanks, Sharon. Okay, thank you everyone for your time. Have a great rest of your day.